Welcome to Feature Friday, where we explore the cool functions of our Roof Wizard software. In part 2, we explored how we created the cutouts around the primary features of this area and this area. Now we're going to deal with the intersection between the main area and this entranceway gable-to-gable roof. It's such a poorly documented job, this one actually. Makes it quite difficult to figure out the correct approach for a lot of things, and you might have to explore a few things to get it right. But don't panic, that's just the nature of the beast, especially when you get unusual structures such as this one. At the end of the day, our primary focus is to get the correct geometry so that when we create a cutting list and material orders, everything is tickety-boo. So, what I need to know, if we look at the front view on our software, you'll see how it appears. Well, they do appear to intersect, and if we go to our elevation drawing again, the architect clearly shows that they intersect at that point. So if we move that out of the way, I need to get those two roof sections to intersect. So working in ISO view is often the best way, and the first thing I want to do is use, if we go back to the main menu, construct roof, intersect plane to plane. So it's going to intersect a line where those two planes meet. So where this plane meets that plane, put a valley line. Okay, so we now have a line there. I now have to reconstruct the geometry where those lines meet. So before I can change any of the line work, I have to delete the planes. If you've done all the training course, you will realise that this is not a big deal. It's simply something we have to do. So we now have an idea of where the line's supposed to run. What I want to do now is trim to a corner. I want to trim that end of that line to that end of our valley, not that line, yes. And I want to trim that end of that to the valley line. Yes, so that plane is now correct, and what I like to do is, as soon as I get a plane that's correct, put it in, and that sort of locks things into place. The next thing I've got to do is bring an eave line from that corner out to this gable. So I'm just going to do a line move, and I'm going to move that line and middle button snap it into there, and I'm going to grab this eave line and middle button snap it into there. And then I'm going to trim to a corner, trim that end to there, and way up there, that end of that fella, back to that one there. Oh, wrong end, undo. Trim that end of that to that. That's what I meant to do. Righto. So that seems to be all right now. So now we insert that plane, we tell it to run around and tell it to be a metal roof. So there we go. Now that's not terribly difficult, and whether the drawing's right or not, that's debatable. But this geometry matches the guy's drawing. And in the next session for Feature Friday, we'll deal with what's going on the other side of the roof here. But this part is as accurate as we can possibly make this part of the roof. Well, that's it for Feature Friday for this week. Have a great weekend, and we'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now.